Hey Internet, it's Megan, and I'm doing my June wrap-up video for you guys today. Before I do that though, I do want to let you know I am doing an ongoing giveaway for Blind Date with a Book on my Instagram. So click the link down below for more details, but this is still up for grabs until next Wednesday. So I really hope you guys will enter. If you like what you guys see, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to keep up to date on my bookish videos and like them. I love making these videos for you guys, and post any comments or questions down below. I do love talking to you guys, so yeah. June was kind of a whirlwind month of reading for me. I don't know why, it just happened this way, but I did get through 9 books. I'm actually at the end of the 9th one right now. It's an audiobook, but I'm filming this a week before the end of the month. I'm gonna get through it. So I'm going to add this to the bottom of the list, but we're just going to jump in and start with the first book I read, which was Children of Eden by Joey Graceffa. Children of Eden is the story of a dystopian world where each couple is only allowed to have one child. Of course, the story is told from the viewpoint of a second child who has spent her entire life in hiding, and all she's ever wanted to do was go outside. So one day she does, and it just leads to this whole huge thing happening to her, and her world gets torn apart, and she has to deal with a tragedy that she didn't see coming. And this is the first book in the series. I really wanted to love this because I love dystopian novels, but I did have to give this 3 out of 5 stars. The reason why is because the author chose to use info dumping as world building instead of letting the world grow organically. And while a lot of people do that, they do it maybe once. It happened quite often in this story, and it really it distracted from the story itself. So I feel like it could have been thought out better in the organic way the story could have grown, but at the same time it was really good, so I probably will be reading the next book in the series. Book 2 that I read this month is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandia Manon. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I already filmed a review for it, so I'll link it down below, but I definitely do recommend this one. The third book that I read this month is Loyalty and Death by J.D. Robb. And I didn't really read it. I listened to it on an audiobook, as I do most of the series. But this one is just one I refuse to critique for either critical or enjoyment. Binks, could you wait? He can't wait. He's using a scratching post. I love slipping into this world. It's about a homicide detective, and each book is a new case that she takes on, and it's set in the future. I absolutely love this series, and I read quite a few of these books this month, but I refuse to grade them because they are my get away from everything book. They're my vacation book, and I can't think about rating them critically, or it would ruin it for me. So I do love them. The fourth book that I read this month is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, and this book came in my Owl Crate, not last month, but the month before, or this month, but I think it was last month's. Not 100% sure on that, I'll have to double check, but I loved this story. I flew through it. It was so good. It's about a kind of a loner girl who writes a very famous webcomic, but nobody knows who she is. And she's kind of just the loner in her world. Nobody at school talks to her. They think she's weird. So she really just lives most of her life online until a new student starts at the school, and he is one of her biggest fans. And so she starts to think that maybe she doesn't have to live her whole life online. And then her secret is leaked, and everything just kind of hits the fan. I recommend this book to anybody who is an artist, who loves young adult, who loves contemporary, but I mean, this is just a really fun read. I did give this book 5 out of 5 stars. The fifth book that I read this month is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, and this one was recently turned into a movie, and I didn't know it existed before I started seeing promotions for it, so I figured I should probably read it. I really wanted to love this book, but I just couldn't. I mean, I feel like it's almost all of it. It was combined very uniquely, but it's kind of just got all the building blocks of your typical tragic romance. I mean, the girl, she was born with an allergy to everything in the world, and she cannot leave her house. She pretty much lives in a bubble, and a new boy moves in next door and it just changes her world. And I feel like it's a very Nicholas Sparks thing to do. I mean, it was well done, and I did like it. I got through it pretty quick. I will probably end up watching the movie, but not my favorite out of all of the ones that I read this month, so, if I'm honest. I did give this one 4 out of 5 stars? Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. So, I have a cheat sheet. I wrote down what I scored everything so I can remember. Book 6 is another one of those ones where I did an audiobook, and it was another one of the in-death books. This one was Witness in Death, and like I said, each book is a different case. I still will read this series. I've read most of them already. I'm on a second read through of the series, and I love the characters. They've grown on me so much, and I don't want to not read books about them. So yeah, that was another book that I read this month. Also, just so you are aware, if you didn't already know, J.D. Robb is another name for Nora Roberts. So she goes from writing your traditional romance novels to a homicide detective. And it's kind of a huge contrast, but I do enjoy it so much. The 7th book that I read this month was The Princess Bride by William Goldman. And this is just a classic from my childhood. I remember it was actually in this very room that I saw the movie for the first time when I was a kid. And when I found out it was a book, I had to read it. I got it from the library, read it. So this is just a reread for me, but I absolutely love this story. And I mean, who wouldn't love a story that has sword fights and true love and the cliffs of insanity and a Sicilian who doesn't know what specific words mean? This is a fun book, and I do recommend it. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars just because it is written in kind of a weird way. It's a story inside of a story inside of a story. Say that 10 times fast. It's bookception. So it's fun, a little dry in parts because it takes it out of the story about Wesley and Buttercup, but it's a lot of fun. The 8th book that I read this month is another audiobook, and that was A Bollywood Affair by Sonali Dev. And this one is the adult romance, so it does have some things in there I wouldn't recommend for children, but it's a really cute story. I mean, I'm on a Bollywood kick right now. I really hate this, but I fall into one of these every once in a while. Go through all of my favorite movies with Bollywood stars in them, whether they're Bollywood or not. But this book was just a lot of fun. And it's about a girl who, when she's 4 in India, she is married off in a huge ceremony that tons of girls are married off to little boys, and that was the first and last time she ever saw her husband. And this marriage isn't really even a legal thing, but she has lived her whole life believing that she's married to this guy. And so she has been trying to live up to the expectations she thinks that he has for her and to better herself. Well, 20 years later, she's tired of waiting and she decides to contact him. Now, the boy that she married is all grown up, and he thought that the marriage had been annulled. So he is like shocked to find out that she still thinks that they're married and she wants to meet him. So he has an accident and his brother decides to go and take care of this for him. And it's so fun because the day he shows up, he gets roped into helping some people with a elopement, and it's a fun story where he ends up starting to fall for his brother's wife. And all the time he is hiding his real identity and waiting for the right time to bring it up that he is her brother-in-law and wants her to sign the annulment papers. So, I mean, it's got some things in there that are questionable, making children marry each other, but at the same time, the story was fun, fast-paced, really good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The last book is another audiobook that I'm in the middle of, and I will have finished by the end of the month, and that is Judgment in Death. It is another book in the J.D. Robb / Nora Roberts, Eve Dallas homicide detective series, and I can't get enough of this series. I do Audible, and I get 2 books a month, and I end up buying 2 Eve Dallas books because they're so amazing. So yeah, that is everything that I read this month, and I will be keeping you guys up to date as I go. total count, if you had watched any of my earlier videos, you would know I'm working on something called Project 52, which is where I read 52 books in a year. I just finished book 40, and I'm not including Judgment and Death in that, so technically it will be 41 by the end of this month, but I'm doing pretty good, and I think I'm going to way exceed my goal, which is actually what a goal that I'm setting for myself now, but my definite goal was 52, and I'm at 40, so kind of proud of that. But yeah, so that's the end of the video, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them down below, and don't forget to check out my Instagram for info on the giveaway.